Greetings and welcome to the Power Gamer Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dawson, joined as always by fellow hosts Johnny Paulus and Kim Ponticello. Kim,
yes,
welcome in. How are you doing this week?
I am doing fantastic, actually. Like, really fantastic.
You've got a nice Fallout Pip-Boy hoodie on, is that right? Or is this just the colors?
It is a Vault-Tec hoodie. It is.
Yeah. That is too cool.
That's awesome.
Somebody on stream noticed it, and I was like, it is a Vault-Tec hoodie.
That is pretty dope.
Thank you.
I kind of wish I had something like that.
I love it. It's my favorite hoodie.
Well, welcome in, Johnny. Welcome into
hello.
the show. How are you doing, sir?
Good. Doing great. I have 3 gigs for the Thanksgiving break. So I had one last night, and then I've got one tomorrow and Saturday. So
look at you go.
Last night was a little bit of a frustrating one.
Where was that?
Shotties in Baltimore.
Oh,
Great
yeah.
bar. I love the people that work there. I don't want to talk trash on them online, but
It's fine. They're not listening.
they're not. So I go in, and they're like, "Hey, we got this great new PA
Trash
system.
talking commence.
We got this great new PA system, so you don't have to use your stuff." And I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, it's an Allen and Heath. They got a couple QSD speakers. This should be pretty nice. So I go and I plug everything in, and the problem is that they have control over the volume.
That's why they did it.
That's exactly why they did it. So I'm getting it to where like I can hear myself and feeling comfortable. Things are pretty good. And then I see the bartender go over and grab an iPad and turn something down, and now I can't hear myself. And I'm trying to sing harder and harder, and I feel like I'm going to blow my voice out because I can't hear myself. Finally, like halfway through the set, I like pulled the guy over, was like, I need you to help me here. I feel like I'm a race car driver that now has to compete in someone else's car. I can't hear myself. And if I can't hear myself, I can't perform. So like whatever thing you turned down, I saw you do it. I need you to undo it. And if it's too loud, then this just is not going to work because I have to be able to hear myself. And it was a struggle all fucking night. It was really frustrating. And I told the owner next time, I was like, I'm bringing my speaker. I'm going to put my speaker next to my head like I'm used to, and I will run my stuff through your stuff, and you guys can do whatever you want outside of that. But I'm going to run through my shit and connect it to your shit. Is just the only way this is going to work. And he was like, that's fair. It's totally fine. I get it. But
just set up your speaker as a monitor. Problem solved.
Yeah. I think it's
just pointed at you, and then they can do whatever they want.
I think it's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
See, yeah. The biggest battle of a musician in a bar is that, especially when it's the place that you're working at doing it, not just some bitch in the audience like complaining.
Yeah.
Is that they don't actually want you there. You know what I mean? It's like it's a live musician. It's going to be louder than a guy standing in the corner of your restaurant with a guitar singing his fucking brains out. Okay, that's the baseline for where it starts. So like if that in and of itself would be too much for your restaurant,
then you don't want me there.
Then you just need a Bluetooth connection in your phone. Not a live musician.
Yep. And that was the other point that I was making is like during my one break, they had the music blaring. And then when they switched it over and I strummed my guitar, I looked at the owner and I was like, dude, I am a quarter the volume of the backup music. Like, you have to do something here. Like, there's a bar full of people that I'm supposed to be entertaining, and everything's just like, hey, everybody, how we doing? What's going on? Is what it sounds like. It was hell. I'll never do it again. Like, no, I refuse.
Yeah, and it's all the way in Baltimore, so maybe that just a...
They're nice people though, and it's a good vibe, and the crowd's fun. And I mean, that
sounds great.
Sounds great. Sounds perfect.
That was not fun. That was not fun. Didn't like that at all.
Kim, Johnny, welcome in. I've had a Thanksgiving day. Not crazy, okay? Like, even though since I've been married, I put down this like ground rule with like my in-laws and my parents, and the rule is very simple: one house. I'm married. I'm not doing that thing I used to have to do like when I was dating and have to like go see all these families, and it's just hectic. One house. So went to the one house and it was great. We deep fried a turkey out in the backyard, had all the sides and everything. Fantastic. Get a text from my mom. Oh, well, we just wanted to see if you were coming over. It's like, and I sent her back a message like, I told you all you could come here,
One house.
and you didn't. So see you tomorrow. Not today.
Mhm.
Have a great one. Highly recommend.
I mean,
there's
good
any-
for you for setting boundaries. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do the same thing on Christmas. It's one house.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not driving around all day. It's just hell. It's the thing I used to hate the most about holidays that I've just eliminated.
I was just me on Thanksgiving. So I made myself a little, I don't really celebrate Thanksgiving anyway, but so I decided to work today. I went back to full-time content creation, which is scary. That's a whole scary thing. And
Congratulations.
so thank you for the applause. I appreciate that. And so I was like, I'm going to work today and I'm going to get some work done. I'm going to I was downloading clips, 23 clips I downloaded, clipped them, downloaded them, and they all downloaded for some bizarre reason, 360p, 480p, 720p. None of them downloaded. And so I had to go through this whole big finagling of like
Oh
trying
my
to figure
God.
out what was going on. It's a Twitch problem, I think, but I finally got them done, but it took me about 3 hours. And then I edited one of them and I was like done. So I got really nothing done today. So
Well, you did get a lot done. It just didn't go how you wanted. That's the way to look at it.
But I made an amazing roast chicken.
Even better.
That sounds good. We made I think the best batch of Brussels sprouts we've ever done.
I love Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, so
Oh,
we always do the standard honey sriracha Brussels sprout. Everybody loves a good
Ooh.
honey sriracha Brussels sprout. But this time we did something a little different. We took the rind of an entire orange and the rind of an entire lime and diced it up as small as you can get it and mixed that in with the Brussels sprouts and then juiced both of them. So not only did you get the bite from the sriracha, but you got that citrus bite as well and the aftertaste.
That sounds
Oh,
fantastic.
I would
they
eat
were
that.
the best. They were the best effing Brussels sprouts I've ever made. And
I
I
eat
looked
that.
at my wife and I was like, "This is the recipe. Like from now on, this is our signature Brussels sprout."
You should bring some to Third Eye Comics in about an hour and a half when I'm there for their Black Friday sale.
Awesome.
Um,
No, they're all gone. They got 8. There was not a Brussels sprout left. That bowl was literally scraped empty.
no Brussels sprout sadness.
Yeah, no Brussels sprouts, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, on that great disappointment, welcome into the Power Gamer Podcast. This is episode 140 of your Power Gamer Podcast. We're all happy to be here and would be happy for your support. We do bring the show to you free each and every week. It costs you nothing. So it would be very kind if in return you could potentially hit the like button and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. If you're listening to us on an audio platform, maybe bounce over to our YouTube and do that, or just leave a kind review on whatever audio platform you are listening to us on. We see a lot of you on Apple and Spotify and Google, and we appreciate you all the same. It's time. We're going back to talking about some games that we've been playing right off the bat. So as past tradition would dictate, we're going to start this week's episode by talking about the games we've been playing. I'm going to take us, get us started this week.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've dove in head first, and got 2 little things to talk about, and then a big thing. Little thing number 1. I finally have The Last Faith. I finally am knee deep in it, and I am loving this game, but that's to no surprise because it's a Metroidvania. I love Blasphemous. This looks a lot like Blasphemous, and lo and behold, it plays a lot like Blasphemous. So if you are into the 2D Metroidvania with an emphasis on the Vania, with a little Dark Souls splashed in, The Last Faith is probably not going to disappoint. Splashed in seems a little bit of an understatement. The Dark Souls influence that has been thrown around games like Blasphemous, and of course this, it's not just a little influence in The Last Faith. It quite literally has all the exact same systems in place that Dark Souls and Elden Ring have in it. So it feels like you're playing a Dark Souls game. There's the ambiguous story. the pretty girl that just sits on a carriage that you talk to level up. And when you go into the level up screen, it's straight out of From Software. Strength, mind, dexterity, all of it. And you level up the same way. You collect souls the same way. It's wearing the influence on its sleeve to an extent that you could call it a mimicry. So what this also does, though, is it makes it a lot easier than a game like Blasphemous, because the fun of Dark Souls is creating a build that fucking breaks the game. You can do that in The Last Faith. So if you tried Blasphemous and you're like, I don't, it's kind of Souls-ish, but I kind of really wanted it to do more with that, The Last Faith is the game for you. So I'm about halfway through it. I'll have more to say on it once I have completed it.
So you're saying the leveling up and skill tree is more rewarding.
It's identical to like if you were playing Elden Ring.
Yeah.
So like you'll find a weapon that's a strength weapon, or you'll find a weapon that's dexterity or whatever. So it's literally the exact same thing, just in a 2D
cool
Metroidvania format. And the story is as ambiguous as fuck and completely impossible to follow. So I mean, it checks all the boxes.
Perfect.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm loving it. Cocoon. Johnny, this was a game that I remember a few weeks ago you being excited for. I haven't seen you play it yet.
I played 2 hours of it while I was in my little COVID lockdown.
So I too have played quite a bit of Cocoon. 2 hours is quite a bit of Cocoon, it turns out. The game takes about 4 hours to complete if you're taking your time. It's a very short game. Kind of interesting just all around what it is. It's got a little bit of Portal to it. It's got a little bit of the people who make Journey and those kind of games. It's just an interesting puzzle oriented game where you're not really platforming. You're just kind of moving a character through the world, interacting with different things to open up new pathways, and just makes you put on your thinking cap a lot. I'm quite enjoying it. I think Cocoon's very nice to look at, runs incredibly well, and I like that I know getting into it that I'm not going to be doing it for 15 hours because I think that would lose me. But knowing that I'm 50% of the way through the game at less than 2 hours of playtime, this feels like a perfect break. Like if you're playing something else and it's really intense, and a game like The Last Faith, and you just need a break game to cool off with, Cocoon's fantastic, and it's on Game Pass right now. So if you're subscribed to that, then you don't have to go out and buy it. You can just download it off Game Pass. So far, would recommend. I saw it got nominated for some category
indie game, I believe,
for indie game at the Video Game Awards.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, and so the developer for that game, Geometry Interactive, they've got a really great track record. Limbo was really good.
Limbo was so good.
Inside was really good. So this is their next game. These guys are great at very short, very cool sort of story indie games. They're awesome.
Finally, on my list of games that I played this week, I have taken down a beast. Spider-Man 2, or as I've basically renamed it, Spider-Mike 2, because it's so much more fun to say Spider-Mike than Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2, gosh, where to start with this? Spider-Man 2 starts a bit slow. But once that game hit its stride, man, was it just perfection from I'd say about the 30% mark all the way to the end. Just absolute perfection in terms of an action game, of what new things it brought to the franchise, and the writing. Just absolutely incredible. I can't say too much about it here because I definitely have two people in front of me that are going to play this game. and one of them would definitely murder me if I spoiled anything.
That's a fact, yes.
So I can't spoil anything, which is probably good. So just kind of speaking of it from a broader stroke, this takes everything that was not perfect with the previous two Spider-Man titles, Spider-Man and, of course, Miles Morales, and it perfects them. So if you thought the Mary Jane missions were a drag in the first Spider-Man game, they're not in Spider-Man 2 for reasons I can't talk about, but they're not. They're fucking awesome. Actually, the moment where the game started to click for me was the first Mary Jane mission. And so, like, if you get to that point and you were like, the game's not really hitting with me yet, just get through that first Mary Jane mission and then you will ride the wave.
So that's the tipping point, basically.
All the way to the end. And it's just fantastic. During my playthrough, I didn't have a single glitch, bug, or issue. None. Which is wild because I've noticed other people having crazy fucking bugs. I was sitting in stream with one of Kim's good friends in the streaming community, Revealing Too Much, and his Spider-Man literally turned into like a Rubik's sized white cube.
Most bizarre thing I've ever seen.
And so he's bouncing around and webs are shooting out of this thing and he's flying around beating up bad guys and shit. And
so ridiculous.
Like, it's totally bugged out. I gotta say, I can't ignore other people's experiences with a game when I'm thinking about how I review something. So if it was more normal, my experience, I would give this game 10 out of 10. The second one that I would ever have given on the show. But I can't ignore other people's experiences. So I guess it's a coin flip if you're going to have absolute perfection, like the best action game that you're going to play all year. Or if you're going to have a game that's still incredibly good, probably still better than everything else that hit the shelves this year with some technical hiccups. It's kind of weird to try and figure out with all the different ways the game's distributed, the different variations of the PlayStation 5 console. Just internally speaking, there's some differences in manufacturing since the console's been released. Very hard to pinpoint what exactly causes these issues. So with that being said, Spider-Man 2 is a 9.5 out of 10. Strongly recommend. Kim, let's move on to you and talk about the games that you've been playing this week.
So, I guess we'll leave my completed game for the end. I've been playing Control, and I am a little bit obsessed. I'm a little bit obsessed. I actually ended up doing an extra stream on Monday night. I forgot to put the other game that I played this week, Mike. Stray Souls. But we'll talk about that in a second. So I ended up...
Lord have mercy on Stray Souls.
So I ended up doing an extra stream. I streamed for like 5 hours on Monday night because I had to cover Stray Souls because I got the game from the developers. And I ended up playing another 4 hours of Control. And then I played it again on Wednesday night. And so one thing you need to understand about me is if I know I'm going to play a game on stream, I go in with as little information as possible. I love going in and like discovering like what this is about. And I had no idea that it was like this SCP world. I had no clue. And so it's been the coolest thing to like find a refrigerator that attacks you if you don't look at it. And like a TV that's causing this like separate dimension. And I'm like, what? Literally, I must have thought to myself at least 20 times every stream, what the fuck is going on? And the combat is so satisfying. And the voice acting's amazing. And Jesse is beautiful. And Ati is like the most intriguing man in the world. Screw the Dos Equis guy. It's Ati. Like, am blown away by this game, and I cannot wait to I want to know what is happening. Like, I can't wait to do more. It's definitely, I'm very, very excited to play more of it. And I have the DLCs, which I hear one is okay, but the other one is the Alan Wake DLC, which I'm very excited to do as well. So
you've been all about the combat in this game.
Oh my God, I literally cackle because I literally just took a clip today. I grabbed one of my clips where I was like, I am going to throw this trash can directly in your face. Wow. And I cackled. I was like, what does this game turn me into? It's like, oh my God, it's amazing. But it is so fun and it feels so good. And the sounds are amazing. And I am in love with that game. It is honestly so fun. I'm having a good time and I'm so glad. It's one of those moments where I'm so glad I went in knowing zero about it. I love that. I love that. And that's why I always tell people, don't tell me anything. I went into Heavy Rain. As long as that game's been out, I went into Heavy Rain knowing nothing. So when the whole thing happened at the end, I cried so hard because I was such a simp the entire game. And I'm so glad I went into Control knowing nothing because my head is like, it's so good. It's so good.
I love Remedy games.
Me too. I do too. They're good. They come out with good stuff. They do. The other game I'm playing. Oh, first of all, let's talk real quick. Can we talk real quick about Stray Souls?
We have to talk about Stray Souls. I mean, this is a pressing matter here.
I don't. Okay.
I gotta Google this. What is?
All right. Quick little background. On Twitter, developer, our game is available on Lurkit. And I was like, I love Lurkit. I get so many of my games from Lurkit, and I'm a creator for a lot of the creator programs they have there. So I was like, perfect. And immediately I get a DM on Discord, bashing one of the devs. And I'm like, what? And I just got a weird vibe. Anyway, I did some digging, did some research. Lurkit did some digging, did some research. Turns out the person is obsessed with one of the developers and is trying to ruin that developer's life. Okay, fine. So I was in close contact with the devs. They talked me through everything and explained everything, and they were amazing. So I got approved for the game, even though technically I shouldn't have because my numbers weren't high enough, right? So I played the game and I knew it had gotten bad reviews. But I played the game and I don't know. I guess the best way to sum it up is the basic idea behind it is you inherited this house from your dead grandmother who you never met. And you're an 18-year-old and you're on Tinder and you're looking for a date because you're lonely. And then you're also wow, I can't believe I have this house, right? And then all of a sudden you get a match on Tinder and it's a woman across the street and you find out she's right across the street and it's like, oh my God. But at the same time, you're finding all this crazy stuff in your grandmother's house. And she's like, no, I'm coming over. Don't do that. And she comes over and it turns out she's your sister. She swiped right. And so it's what is even, oh my God, it was so bad. I'm so sorry to the devs.
Oh, there's more I can say about this.
It's so...
I gotta hear Mike's take here.
This game is so fucking stupid. So
wait, can we talk about when she pulled out a gun, she was like,
oh, that's right where I was going. Here,
I have this, and it was a gold deagle. And so it was this big. It was massive.
Well, the kid's like, holy shit, a gun? I can't believe this. I've never shot a gun before. And then 5 seconds later, he's diving around like fucking Leon in Resident Evil 4. Blowing fucking demon zombies away with this golden deagle.
Oh my God. Yeah. It was a trip.
So fucking dumb.
It was a trip. So I didn't get too far into it because I literally put a poll up and I was like, should we dig more into Stray Souls or should I get back on Control? And Control undoubtedly won the poll.
Should absolutely 100% Stray Souls off stream.
I kind of want to do it on stream for the memes.
Oh,
I really gotta do.
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, that's my community.
What's the Johnny? What's the time to beat on Stray Souls? Can you pull that real quick? because I'm going to be very sad if this game is longer than, say, 6 hours. If it takes
4.5.
Okay.
It's doable.
It's
doable.
doable. That's one stream. If I'm not laughing a lot.
You know, well, yeah. So if the average time to beat's 4.5 hours, for Kim, that means 8.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
Because distractions.
Distractions. My chat is active. I'm always pausing and like, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was Stray Souls, and that was a trip, and that's definitely a meme-worthy stream, in my opinion.
I'm so sorry, Stray Souls devs.
They're so nice too. They really.
You don't
are.
need
They're
to
so
work.
Nice.
You don't need to work on your people skills, but you obviously shouldn't be making games.
They're so nice. Okay, next game, Inscryption. I started Inscryption, and I'm not going to say a whole lot about it because I'm going to.
You can say whatever you
later.
want. You can say whatever you want
You're
about
free to
Inscryption.
speak.
I mean, I'm going to mention it later too. That's why I'm saying. But
I'm telling you right now, you can't spoil anything about the game. Say whatever you want.
Well, I can't because I just started. But all I'm gonna say is, I can't. It like burrowed. It burrowed into my brain, and I can't stop thinking about it. And I can't wait to play it more. It's literally this like worm is in my brain, and it's like, don't you want to stream tonight? Like I literally want. I just need to play more. With that note,
fucking good.
Yeah.
The hardest thing about it has been people wanting to help me in stream. Has been so difficult because it's like I literally at one point had to say to somebody, I was like, do not backseat. I promise you, if I need help, I will ask for help. If I have a question, I will ask it. But let me figure everything out myself. And immediately they like said something and I was like, I said, don't backseat. And they were like, oh, I forgot. And I'm like, no, that's not bad memory. That's lack of self-control. Like you need to not say anything to me. That's been the hardest part. But my mods are already, I have them on, they're like ready for next time. I am so excited to play more of this game. I am already completely just engrossed in it. And I love it.
That's fantastic. I can't say anything about it.
You ain't seen shit yet. That's all I'm gonna say.
I know.
I can't say anything about it.
I know. And I've heard my head is going to be completely and utterly blown by this game. So I'm very, very excited.
By a card game. That's right.
Yeah. So, okay. And finally, the last game, I finished the Invincible. I completed it. And I got such a horrible ending.
Literally the worst ending.
I got the worst ending you could possibly get, but that is so on brand. Like every freaking game I play, every Life is Strange game I get the worst ending, every Telltale game I've gotten the worst ending. So it was kind of like on brand, but in my defense, the action I chose, even though I got a blatant from Mike with my choice, I did it with like the best intentions for the planet, but it was. I tried so hard to be like, this is the way to do it because it's going to be good in the end.
Everyone out there listening, there's 11 endings to the game. I'm going to spoil the worst one. She nuked the fucking planet. Like, not one H-bomb, fucking 8 of them.
But wait, I gotta tell you my thought process though. Wait, you need to get into the Mickey brain for a second, okay? I literally talked it through too before I said yes, right? I said to myself, these bugs, these flies are invasive, right? And before they were there, this place has the ability to be thriving, right? And they're still fish. Right? Which means there could be life. And so if I get rid of these fucking flies, this place is it's gonna be great. And so I was like, nuke it, right? And so I I nuked it, and the flies got angry. And we died.
Those nukes didn't do shit.
Yeah, we died. we all died. And I literally sat there like, well, that was not the right choice to make. And everybody in chat was like, but it's so on brand. Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't
So
expect anything
do you
different.
think you're going to play it again to see if you can get a different ending?
I would like to, yeah. I mean, but you can, Mike said you can actually start off at a certain point, but you can't get all the endings from that. The game is pretty complex.
That's correct. So like once you finish the Invincible, when you go back in, there's a continue option that'll take you to the last area where you make some pretty big decisions. But there's, regardless of how you set up the game, there's nuke. There's 4 different major endings that you can get regardless of how you play the game. So if you get to that final area, and one of them is always the best ending. So you can always get what I consider the best ending of the game, regardless of how you find yourself at the end.
Look, if you think about it, and if you think about the potential of these flies ending up in a different planet, I got the best ending. I'm just saying.
And I don't want to spoil my ending.
I think we saved the universe.
I don't want to spoil my ending. Okay, if you're listening and legitimately care, like skip forward 30 seconds, starting now. What if you made friends with the flies and they worked with you and didn't think humans were assholes that were going to nuke them?
All right.
What if you allied with the flies? What if you allied with the flies and they painted a picture of you with their bodies?
What? Like one of my French girls?
And if you skipped forward, now you can come back.
So the Invincible
is a fantastic game. But no, what was your overall thoughts on it? Because there's a lot more to it than just the ending. It's more about the path there.
It was the journey there, for sure.
Rolling.
It was. I really, really loved it. I do wish it had a little bit more guidance. That's my only complaint with the game. Is there are times. Thank goodness Mike was there at one point, because I mean he even said I spent 20 minutes looking, like figuring out what to do here. So he was like, look right there.
Said that, like 3 separate occasions.
Yeah. So it definitely needs a little bit more guiding, I feel. Especially because the walking is kind of slow. It's literally like, even her running is like,
and you can only run for like 5 seconds.
Yeah. So it does need a little bit more guidance, in my opinion. But overall, the game, I'm just going to put it to you this way. That person who gave it a 5 out of 10 is on some serious meth. Because that game is not, that's not a 5 of 10. That game was amazing. The game was fantastic. It really was. It's worth it. If you like narrative adventures, because we're not calling them walking simulators, because I hate that name. If you like narrative adventures, it's the voice acting, the main actress, Yasna, like all of the people who come into play. It was really, really astounding. Yeah, I really loved it.
Where are you scoring it?
I hate scores.
Not everybody scores, Johnny.
Yeah, okay, I've decided I hate scores. I do.
Okay, but you recommend it.
You know what it is? My weird neurodivergent brain is not really good at saying this is a number. So
yeah, I rated it at a 7.5 out of 10, which is solid but with flaws.
Right.
So
solid with flaws. I like that term.
Yeah, solid, but not every second of it's going to make you happy.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Very good. Any other hidden games from the list here? Or have we covered all the bases here, Kim?
I think so. I mean, obviously, I play my typical Siege and stuff like that because I'm a Siege addict. But got it.
Well, if you think anything else, bring it up. Okay. Johnny, man, you've been a busy boy this week. Lay it on us. What's been going on?
Well, I talked about it last week, how I accidentally deleted my save for Ori and the Blind Forest. And I was mentioning on the last episode, I said, I don't think it would take me that much time to get caught up. So I basically got completely fully caught up in one sitting. I just sat down. I think it was last Saturday in the middle of the day, and the kids were gaming and Megan was napping, and I just fired up the game and just coasted right on through back to where I was for the most part. And then I streamed the last, I don't know, third of the game online.
Yes, you did.
This game continued to be really fucking hard. The final lava level, I feel like the developers got like the some original genes from Adolf Hitler, and they brought him back so that he could design a level in a platforming game. And like, we really need your input, Adolf. Only you could build this level in this punishing fucking platformer
It's
game.
so wrong because the level's all fire. Go ahead.
It was
There was
joyous
lava
to watch.
everywhere. What are you talking about?
It
There's
was joyous
flows
to
of
watch.
lava chasing me. But anyway, I still
So
really
wrong.
liked this game, and I kept coming back to it. I as frustrating as it made me, I did still enjoy it, and I still came away enjoying the story, enjoying the characters, enjoying Ori is its own thing. It's earned a little spot on the shelf of Metroidvanias that I will probably play them all. If they make 5, I'll play all 5. If they make 10, I'll play all 10. So I beat Ori and the Blind Forest. I liked the ending a lot. I think there's a lot more story that is going to be kind of broken into in the second one, because in the first game, not a lot's explained. There's a lot of shit that's implied. There's a lot of things that are shown to you, but nothing's really like outright explained. I don't really fully understand what is going on in this forest and who Ori is, but I think we're going to get there in the second one.
I mean, we had somebody come into the stream and explain it to us. First, you need to watch the Barbie movie.
Yes.
But only if you have the context of being a frontline Marine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you really have to like sausage.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
shout out to Sausage Queen. You're crazy as fuck. Go ahead, Johnny.
she was going off.
Fucking
She was having a good time.
Bananas.
Anyway, I'm gonna give Ori and the Blind Forest a 7.8. If you are a glutton for punishment and you enjoy difficult platformer games, this is your dream fucking come true.
That game is relaxing. Don't listen to Johnny.
On to the second game.
That game did not look relaxing.
On to the second game, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I'm having a completely different experience with.
Yeah.
I've died, I would say, at a pace 1/10 the amount of deaths that I had in the original game. I've in my maybe 2 or 3 hours that I've sat and played it, I've had like 2 frustrating checkpoints, where if this were the first game, I would have had like 10 frustrating checkpoints. And the biggest difference is the autosave. The thing that killed me in the first game is that, so you have your life cells and you have your ability cells. And in order for you to create a soul link, which is where you can save your game and apply your experience if you want to level up your character, you hold down B and you go shing, and you like recover 1 thing of health. You can save your game, but you have to do this. If you don't do this, there is no fucking autosave. So the problem is that I suffer from severe ADHD, right? So I get hyper fixated. I get like, cool, I'm in the mode. All right, let's get this done. Got that done? Fuck yeah, let's keep going. Next thing. All right, got that done. And then I get caught up somewhere and I die, and I'm like, I could have saved 15 times, but I didn't. And like, so I need I'm not saying, I liked the fact that I could stop wherever if I had the energy and save my game, and that's great. But the fact that there's no autosave on top of that really ended up being a pretty big burden, just for me personally. It's a personal gripe. On the second game, however, every time I die, I'm like 20 feet behind where I was. That I'm checkpointed automatically, so that frustration, that thorn in my side, is gone completely. So far in the second one, there's already more story going on. There's like characters that I'm actually interacting with, which in the first one there was very little of that. So I can already tell, I think the second one's going to be a lot better, is sort of the vibe that I'm getting. I'm not far in it at all, but I so far it feels really good. Small update with Final Fantasy XVI. I've been slagging on the side quests with this game. I will say, now that I'm about 70% of the way through, 80% of the way through, Some of the side quests are a lot more rewarding. There's a lot more things going on. There's more satisfying character beats between the people at the hideaway, which is like the main hub. And I'm also getting better payouts for some of these quests. I will, in the first half of the game, you do a side quest and it's like, here's some XP that's not going to do shit for you. Thanks for the help. But now it's like I do a quest and it's like, you've doubled your potion inventory. You've, increased the effectiveness of this. You have a recipe for like the best weapon in the game. So like I'm getting actual rewards for the side quests. So my score is slowly inching upward a little bit on Final Fantasy 16. Also had 2 more sessions with Deedlit in the Wonder Labyrinth, which is the Record of Lodos universe Metroidvania game that I was raving about the other day. That's very, very similar to Symphony of the Night. It gives me Symphony of the Night vibes big time. The thing that surprises me with this game is the amount of fucking bosses in this game. I feel like there's a huge ass boss like every 10 or 15 minutes. Like it's just constant. There's so many boss fights in this game. But yeah, if anybody likes Metroidvanias, Deedlit in the Wonder Labyrinth is going to get a really strong recommend. I think this game is going to end up somewhere in the high 8s for me. It's really, really good. And last but not least, Persona 5 Tactica. I talked a little bit about this because I do love my turn-based tactical games. It's an itch that I will always scratch. Any sort of XCOM or Midnight Suns or that's my shit. I love those type of games. And Persona 5 Tactica is a very well-oiled machine. It runs very, very well. It's optimized very well. I've had no issues with bugs or pop-in or setup. Everything just sort of works exactly the way that it should. Only problem I'm having is I have no experience with Persona, and I have no fucking clue what is happening.
And it is verbose.
There is a talking cat who then corrects somebody and says, well, I'm not a cat. I'm like, well, you're fucking are. You're clearly a cat that's talking. I don't know what's up with that. We went through a door and everybody has their masks and they're like, we have our thief personas on. What's going on? And I'm like, dude, I have no clue. I and the thing is, I'm fully aware that I'm walking into season 29 of a story. You know what I mean? I totally get it, but man, am I lost with the characters. But the gameplay is great. The gameplay is really, really quick. Some of those tactical games can kind of weigh you down with UI and options and menus. This is a very snappy one. This is a very I'm going to move here with A, I'm going to attack with X, boom, done. And it's very, very quick. There's not, some of those games can get really deliberate and really sort of slow down the action. And in this, you can have all 4 of your characters can take their turn in
it's because you need 20
seconds.
minutes to read the cutscene in between each instance.
But no, but I mean, so far the game feels really tight. I just I have no idea what's going on with the characters. But yeah, no, as you can see, I've gone through quite a lot of games, and I think Final Fantasy's going down. I'll probably have this beat by next week. I think I'm very, very close.
Very good. Well, that wraps up the games that we've been playing this week. Now we have a listener inquiry where we're going to look back to the games that we have once played before. Diacron writes in, what's a game you wish you could go back and play for the first time all over again? I love this question. We've danced around this question before, but it's been quite some time. We have a new host with us in Kim, so I think it's time for us to talk about some of the games that we wish we could go back and play for the first time all over again. And I read this question quite literally. I mean, I read it as actually going back to where I was when I first played the game, so to speak. Because I don't think some of the old games that I played would be as meaningful outside of that context. You know what I mean? If I sat down in 2023 and had never played the exact release of the 2006 Mass Effect, I'd be like, what the fuck is with this guy's face? But in 2006, that shit looked awesome. Okay. So So yeah, we're gonna tackle some of the games that we wish we could go back and play. We're gonna do it in a pick 3 format, which is a round robin. So I'll start this one off with Johnny, then to Kim, then to me,
Sure.
so on and so forth as we get through our 3 selections. So Johnny, why don't you get us started here? I love the story of this first game. We've heard it before, but it's been forever.
Yeah, it's been a while. So it is the summer of 2003. I'd just gotten fired from my one guitar job. I was working at a small guitar shop in Annapolis, and I got let go. And I got in the car and I drove up to Guitar Center, and I knew that I could walk in and get a job. Like, with my credentials, I've been selling guitars for 5 years. I know my shit. Give me a job. And that's pretty much how it went. And so I did all my paperwork and all that shit. And they were like, cool, well, you start on this date. And it was like 8 or 9 days into the future. During that same period of time, I was staying with a bandmate at his apartment in Glen Burnie. And that week, him and his wife left town and went to Florida for an entire week. So for an entire week, I probably, for the first and last time in my entire life, had absolutely zero responsibilities whatsoever. I didn't have to go to work. I was recently single, so I didn't have to deal with a girlfriend. A bandmate was out of town, so I didn't have band practice. The only thing I did every day was woke up in the morning, went to the liquor store, bought a 12-pack of Corona beer and a pack of cigarettes, and went back to the apartment and played Knights of the Old Republic from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed. And I did this for a week. And like, this was like literally right when that game had come on. Like, it was like all the stars aligned for this game. It was like, don't have a job, got the job lined up, but I don't start till this day. No one's in the apartment. I'm totally by myself. And I binged the fuck out of Knights of the Old Republic, which I still think to this day is like on the Mount Rushmore of one of the best RPGs of all time. Please, for the love of God, finish your remake, because it's been long enough now since I played this game that it would feel like the first time again. There's so many story beats and twists and turns that I don't remember. It's been fucking 20 years, literally. So, yeah, I would go back and play Knights of the Old Republic in my early 20s before I, was like a full-blown adult. I was really kind of a kid that could buy beer, basically.
Yeah, I played that game for the first time ever on an actual Xbox, 2 years ago? And I was so sad that I hadn't played it sooner. It's fantastic.
It's so good.
Kim, that brings us to you. What would be the first game you could go back and play for the first time all over again?
Well, I think of this question very differently, but I think it's because my brain is wired a little bit differently. I am not very much a wow, if I could go back to those days person. I'm really not, because I think it's because, though, my life has been nothing but like utter turmoil. And so this is like the first time that I'm like, my problems are my own. My issues are my own. I'm moving to Europe next year. So like, I don't want to go back to to any time in the past. So I picked my games based on just sheer love of that specific game, and how it's the first one I picked. I've literally played through 3 times. I plan on playing it again, and I love it, but it's like not the same as that very first time. So I picked Alice Madness Returns. When I do remember when I first played it, though, and the main reason I remember the scenario was because my kids both watched me play it, and they thought it was like the coolest game ever. And I fell in love with this game because I'm very much certain games have amazing sounds that make my brain go burr, right? And Alice has that. The pepper mill, the sound of that thing, like literally would make my brain buzz. And just all of just how beautiful that game was, and this bizarre fantasy world. I mean, I love Alice to begin with. And so to be able to delve into that world and basically live it through a game. And then, I mean, I don't know if I don't know. I know the game's old, but I still don't want to spoil it. But like, and then like the whole story of it was so tragic and so beautiful. And Oh my God. And I'm definitely going to be streaming it again because I'm like, I feel like more people need to see this because a lot of people, it's still kind of one of those buried games that not everybody knows about, even though I feel like it shouldn't be that way, you know? And so that's why I want to go. That's why I would want to experience Alice again for the first time because it's literally just magical. It's a magical game with really great sounds.
Yeah, I feel like people might just coincidentally be more aware of it because when you go to browse on Game Pass and it's in alphabetical order, this game's on there. It's like one of the first games that pops up. So hopefully people like, the hell is this? Should I play
hope
this?
so. I hope so because it's really a beautiful, and it's older, so obviously there's some camera angles, as we know from Shadow of the Colossus. Sometimes camera angles are pretty bad from older games, but it's honestly it's a really breathtaking, well made, really fun game. It's the type of game that you want to 100%, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know the designer American McGee. Like there was one other game, or I don't think it was a different game. I think it was actually
It was the first game.
yeah, it was like actually released like 10 years before it came to the Xbox, all polished and pretty. So be careful out there, guys, if you're looking for your first experience with the game, because there is like a super old blocky version of it, like in that weird like late 90s, I think it was even like 99.
I just googled it.
I think it was 2000. Yeah.
Which is the same game, but it's like a really different version of what was published under EA, which you can play on Game Pass. It's right there. So
well, and what's really sad is so American McGee, they were supposed to come out with another one, Alice Asylum, and they had to scrap it. But man, I was following that. I was like, please, because I would have been all over that. I really, really wish that they didn't scrap it, but that's my first game.
Give me like 2 seconds. I just need to do this for this first title. Like I owe it to it. Okay.
Okay.
2 seconds.
Okay.
He's got to flex that cartridge. Got to flex that cartridge.
He's such a nerd.
Because
Here it comes.
she's already snorting. Great. I mean,
Johnny's making me laugh.
I owe it to this game because I've held on to it my entire life, almost. And that is this game right here. This is my
white label. Beautiful.
This is my original copy of Chrono Trigger that still has my original saves intact from my first ever playthrough of it. Those will someday disappear because the battery won't last forever. I'm okay with that, but they are still intact. And man, if I could go back in time to that era and play games again, there's so many games like I would throw out there, like, man, like the first time I played F-Zero, the first time I played Blaster Master on the NES. Like there's so many great moments, but really from my earlier years, in the 90s, I'm the baby of the show, of course. This was it. So like taking me back in time, I guess pun intended, because we're talking about a game about time travel. I still remember exactly where I was in my parents' house, the exact TV that I had. It was this little shitty Sony television that my dad won from a sales competition at his work, that to turn on, it had a volume knob that you had to pull the knob out, and then the static would come on, and then you could turn on your console and the game would come up on the screen. I had repositioned the furniture in my room the day that I started playing it. So my bed kind of went to the center of the room, and then my TV right next to it. So I could sit on the side of my bed and be like right up next to the TV. And I don't think I got any homework done the 2 weeks that I played this game. I was in such shit at school because of Chrono Trigger. But the second I'd get off the bus and come home, I'm like, friends, no, I don't want to hang out. I'm doing this. This is all I'm doing. And so it's just really cool. Every time I hold this, it like something about that just takes me right back to that moment that I still have this exact thing from then. It's still holding the same information from then. It's really wild. So, I mean, if I could go back in time and experience anything over again, well, first I'd put a note in my pocket: buy Amazon stock, buy Tesla stock. And then I'd sit and play this in its entirety. And I'd probably buy a few copies of it that were still in the box and never open them, because the value of this game has just gone out of control.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of a cliche answer. I feel like a lot of people would say Chrono Trigger, but for me, it's really about like where I was. One of my best friends had just moved away, and I actually, he wrote me this on with pencil and lined notebook paper, a guide that takes you from the start to the end of this game, and stuffed it in an envelope. And I mean, it's bulging because it's like 40 pages of handwritten notes. It's a complete walkthrough of this game, that I still have that letter from him that I hang on to.
That's
and
so cool.
Yeah, so I mean, if there was any point in time, I mean, that's just the point in time, right? You couldn't send your buddy a link on Discord to say, well, here's a walkthrough. Nor would you be maniacal enough to type one out. There's no reason. There's tons of them available on the internet. But back in that day, we're talking 1994, there really wasn't the internet. If you wanted to help your buddy out with a game, you either had to hope that somebody printed a book that you could go buy, or they had to do what my friend did and write it all down on notebook paper and mail it to you. So Chrono Trigger is my first pick for sure. Johnny, back to you. This one was going to come to as a complete shock to our audience.
I mean, of course I got to give it to Bioshock. I mean, it's like my favorite video game franchise ever. And I feel like all three of these games had a massive wow factor impact on me when they came out. This is a series that, you know how Facebook will give you reminders of, like, 8 years ago, this picture, 12 years ago, that picture. I get reminded every year the day that Bioshock 2 came out, because I was so fucking excited that I screenshotted a picture of the intro screen and put it on my Facebook. Like, my Facebook friends give a fuck that I'm playing Bioshock 2. But that is how much I love Bioshock. And I've beaten especially the first one at least a half dozen times. I could almost do it blindfolded. I just wish I could see the handgun in the baby stroller for the first time again. Because I remember that just being like, holy, what the fuck did I just get into? I mean, that's like
goosebumps.
That's like in the first 10 minutes of the game, right? You're in the bathysphere, and the bathysphere goes down into the water, and you don't know where the fuck you're going. And then as soon as you get down there, there's threats on the other side of the glass, and they're trying to break in and pry it open, and then it runs off scared, and then you hear this woman screaming and crying, and you come around the corner and there's a baby stroller, and there's just a handgun inside the stroller. And just there's so many of those little moments, even within the whole trilogy, that they're so deeply ingrained in my brain that I'll never forget. And that kind of sucks, because I'll never have that first time moment again. And so, I wish, like, if there were a reset button in my brain and I could just go back and play the trilogy again, completely fresh, having like, what's Bioshock, and sitting down. I mean, when it comes to first person shooters that are able to tell a story like this, the Mount Rushmore is like Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, and Bioshock. And like those are the games that are just, they so many of these other titles wouldn't exist without Bioshock. And I just wish I could experience it for the first time.
Well, the twist at the end, you only get that once.
Correct.
Well, yeah. And so speaking of that, you're gonna go crazy when you hear this. I have a friend who was streaming Infinite, and I said, "Oh, you're streaming Infinite." I'm like, "I didn't even know you played the first two." And he said, well, I didn't, but somebody told me I don't have to. And I said, no, like, you have to. What do you mean?
Yeah.
And they said, no. They said Infinite really has nothing to do with the first two. I was like, oh, like, you need to stop. Like, you need to stop right now and start at 1 and pay attention to everything. I'm begging you to do this. And he didn't. So, of course, the end of Infinite, he was like, I don't get it. And I'm like, well, of course you don't get it because you didn't play the first two. And that's why Bioshock was going to be one of my choices because, I mean, but I was going to like 1, 2, and Infinite because I didn't feel like thinking. And because it's one of those games I wish I could just hear the splicers for the first time. The Houdini splicers will always stick in my mind. I have a little Big Daddy. I have a splicer mask. It's just
well, and
it's amazing, that game. And for somebody with a really bad memory, I wish that was one of those games that I could like forget.
It's too memorable. Yeah.
Well,
it's too memorable. Yeah.
And also the first Big Daddy that you fight, like the first Big Daddy, where like you spend a good chunk of the beginning of that game avoiding those fuckers as bad as you can, and then eventually it comes to light that you have to kill one of these fuckers. And the first time you go aggro on him and he fucking turns on his drill and fucking charges at you, you shit your pants like you never have in a first-person shooter when that fucking Big Daddy is coming at you. And I'll never experience that for the first time ever again.
And never experience the first time making the decision what you're going to do with the little sister.
This will be exciting for you both to contemplate here because longtime listeners, as you're aware, 2 years ago we did a must play challenge. One of my games was Bioshock 2 because I had never played it before. So I did my first full playthrough of Bioshock 2 about 2 years ago.
Yep.
I still haven't played Infinite, so I get my first time.
Oh my god!
I get my first time on Infinite still, and I've already deemed next month because there's not a single release next month that I really give a shit about.
Awesome.
So next month is backlog month.
Kill the racists! Kill the racists! It's such a good game.
I guess I have to tackle Infinite next month.
Yes.
So you have to play Bioshock Infinite on PC, please. Mouse and keyboard, please.
I won't play with a mouse and keyboard because that literally hurts. But I will play it with a controller. Okay. And I do have it on PC, even though the nostalgist in me wants to fire it up on my 360. Which, doesn't affect how I think about games. I played Bioshock 2 on my 360.
But Infinite is astoundingly gorgeous. You need to play that on PC. It is breathtaking. Okay.
I do own it on PC already.
I don't know if you know anything about the soundtrack, but pay attention to the soundtrack. Soundtrack is, you're going to be walking through the game and all of a sudden you're going to go, I know that song. Wait, what?
He'll catch those. He will absolutely catch those for sure. Yeah.
I am an audiophile through and
so
through.
Good.
Doggo. Somebody just got home in Gibbs' house. Do you need a second, or if you need a second?
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
That's okay. I'll go ahead and get my next one tackled real quick, and then we'll loop back around. So, also no surprise to anyone ever, Resident Evil is my next pick. So the Resident Evil franchise, I'm not doing the whole franchise, actually. I'm just talking about the first Resident Evil game that came out way back when in 1997 or 96 rather. I'm sorry.
That sounds, I'll Google it. Go ahead.
Yeah. 2 was 98. 1 was 96 if memory serves. But the first time I ever played it, again, I mean, this was just a great period of time. I'm on Resident Evil.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
It was a great period in time. I actually didn't own it or the system the first time I played it. My next door neighbor had it. And I went over and, I'm still relatively young when this game came out. I think I was about 10 years old. And I was scared out of my fucking mind I had never seen something so horrifying as a 10-year-old in a very strict Southern Baptist grown upbringing. And there's blood and guts and zombies, and I am hooked. I am completely hooked. And I'll never forget my neighbor got a Sega Saturn, and he's like, "Yeah, here, you can borrow it." He's like, "But get your own memory card." So I got my own memory card, and he lent me his copy of the game. And I mean, I just played through the whole thing, terrified as shit in my room. Didn't tell my parents what I was doing. And as soon as I finished it, and I returned my neighbor's PlayStation, he actually said, "You can just buy the system off me and keep it." He charged me like $50 or something, obscenely cheap.
Awesome.
Because he was all about his Saturn, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I still have it. I still have his system. I've tried writing him like, "Do you want this back now?" Because I've picked up a few others over the years. I'm like, "Do you want this back?" Resident Evil, man, that started a thing, and I haven't missed them since. I mean, I'm obsessed with the Resident Evil series. So, Kim, would you kindly tell us about your next pick?
Would you kindly? Yeah, so my next pick is a game I haven't even finished yet. But it's I talked about it earlier. It has already put such a worm into my brain that I know for a fact I am going to wish I could play Inscryption all over again fresh, not knowing anything, because I already feel that way and I've already started and everybody's telling me this is nothing yet. But I already feel that. And so I can only imagine how good it's going to be. And I'm never going to be able to experience it for the first time again because already I'm playing it and I am literally just in such a world of like, I don't even know how to describe what this game does to me. I don't even know how to describe it. But like, and I haven't even scratched the surface. And I can just feel it that I when I get done with this game, I am literally going to sit here and say I can never experience that for the first time again. And
that is correct.
Yes.
And it's already killing me and I've only just started. But I don't know what it is about this game. I feel like they put some sort of like brainwashing into it or something. I don't know, but it like really dug into my brain. I don't know how to describe it, but man, it like really appeals to me. I don't know.
Man, I can't wait for you to like have another like 10 hours into this game.
Same.
I can't wait. Yeah, I'm doing it on a Monday and Wednesday. I'm streaming it. So I'll get a good another good like 6 to 7 hours in. So
because me and Johnny still can't say a thing here.
I know.
Other than God damn it, you're right. You're
Ugh.
right.
You're absolutely right. This is a
know.
game that is good. That's perfect for this category. Even though you have not completed the game, this is a great pick.
I can feel it. Like I can feel it in my bones because already I literally got done with my stream and I had this moment of like, this is the first time I'm going to experience this game and I'm never going to be able to experience this magic again.
Yep.
And I just know it. And it's killing me already, but I'm trying to get those thoughts out of my head because I just want to enjoy every second of it, which I know I will anyway, but I can feel it. Like I can feel it in my bones that when it's all said and done, I'm going to be like, oh, I just want to experience it brand new again.
I really do. And I never can, but I still want to play it again anyway.
Yeah.
Like watching you play, it's like, see it sitting there in my Epic Game Store. I'm like, oh man, I love this game. I could totally play it again. Be perfectly happy. But yeah, I can't say anything else about it because
I know.
anything me and Johnny try and say would be like super crazy spoiler.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm shutting the fuck up now.
Actually, I'm gonna ask you to
set them up next.
I'm actually gonna ask you to speak, Johnny. Why don't you finish off your list of games you wish go back and play the first time?
My final on the pick 3, and this was a last minute change when you sort of rewired my brain with the question of if I could go back to the time and the place that I first enjoyed this game. And the moment you said that, I was like, I got to change my answer. So I put it to Final Fantasy VII because anyone around my age will remember that, like, when Final Fantasy VII came out, you have to understand, this was a video game that had 4 fucking discs. 4 discs.
Is it 4?
I'm pretty sure it's 4. You can double
here
check.
he goes.
I might
Here he
be
goes.
wrong. You know, he's got to flex the discs. You know,
Of course he
that's what he's
does.
gotta do.
Of course he does.
So anyway, but so not only was there that epic nature of it, but the story and the cinematics in that game, video games had finally reached a level where Final Fantasy VII is the first video game that made me cry. I actually cried when I played Final Fantasy VII. And that reveal will never, ever be fresh to me ever. Like, that wound will never heal. I had a real cry when I played Final Fantasy VII. On top of that, Final Fantasy VII also happened to, I was in the middle of playing it on my 21st birthday. Now, your boy Johnny was a good boy, and I did not drink until my 21st birthday. So on my 21st birthday, I went to the liquor store and I said, let's see what the big deal is. And here you go, sir. Here's my ID. I guess I'll get a bottle of wine. And I went home and I opened the bottle of wine and I drank the bottle of wine by myself while playing Final Fantasy VII and was like, I don't really think I'm feeling anything, until I got up and was like, oh, wait, okay. Yep. Oh, yeah, okay. Got it. Yep. And, but no, it was a very early, you know, it was a very, like, turning point in my life. It was my 21st birthday and I was enjoying this game that I was just completely lost in, and really sort of cemented my obsession with video games. I mean, yes, I played video games a lot when I was a kid, and I always had to have the newest console, and, like, that was always there. But Final Fantasy VII was something different emotionally, and it felt like a journey. And up until that point, we didn't really get that a lot. Was I right?
3.
3 discs. Okay.
It's so substantial to hold this case.
Yep.
And I forgot, like, how good, like, intact this is, that it still has this stupid registration card in it.
Awesome.
Because there was like, this is how we used to have to do things, kids.
Yep.
Subscribe to PlayStation Underground
right.
CD magazine.
PlayStation Underground magazine.
Somebody's gonna leave a comment like, "Oh my god, you have the reg card. Oh my god, will you sell that to me?" No, that's not how I. That's not how I do things, guys. It still has the damn. Remember these, the little tear fucking things?
Yep.
Oh my god, they were the worst.
Yeah, they were the worst.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII took over, like, the whole gaming world.
It really did. It really did. It
out.
left a crater when it landed. It just did.
Yeah. Kim, that brings us to your final selection as well. What do you got for us?
My final selection is Detroit Become Human. This game, I don't know how to describe what I played through it twice. First time I played through it was a really amazing playthrough. I did my best to just have a good playthrough and get all of the good endings. And I cried and I laughed, and the game hit me so hard. I'm a big advocate for rights and equality. And so I literally broke down crying when Marcus got into the back of the bus. I'm getting emotional.
This game is so emotional.
It's so emotional, and it was such an amazing playthrough. And during my playthrough, I was challenging my community. If I got enough in donations, I would do an evil playthrough. And I did.
Yes,
I didn't
you
think
did.
I was going to. And I did. And it was, I feel like I'm going to cry. It was one of the worst things I've ever done in my life. When I tell you, and on the TikToks, there's still my 3 viral videos are from my evil playthrough. And on all 3 of them, there are people who are like, women are so emotional. I literally sobbing during my
Oh.
playthrough, uncontrollable sobbing during my playthrough at one particular part that I don't want to talk about because I don't want to spoil it in case nobody's played it. But you've never played it?
I watched both of your playthroughs in full, but I haven't played it myself.
Let me tell you. So one of my mods, my very good friend Cheesy, has played through that game countless times. And during one of my playthroughs, there was still a moment where she said, I didn't even know that could happen. There are so many options and so many things you can do and so many routes you can take, and just the voice acting, the mocap, the intensity behind the story, and everything that it encompasses in regard to like everything that we're fighting now, like equality and just everything that I'm passionate about. And then they throw it all into your face. And it's so hard, but it's so beautiful and it's so bittersweet. And I know I could go through and get different answers and stuff, but I'll never experience Hank for the first time. I have a serious thing for Clancy Brown. I love Clancy Brown. So when I saw him sitting at the bar, I literally, I lit up and I went, is that Clancy Brown? And like, I'll never be able to experience that again. And I'll never be able to experience the relationship between the different characters and trying to make it work and who I freaking can't stand. And like, that game is an absolute masterpiece and it's flawless. And I cannot, if you haven't played it, I literally cannot recommend it enough because it just goes in so many directions and evokes so many emotions. That game is a masterpiece.
Yeah, I think it's been long enough since I watched your playthroughs that it's faded enough that I could sit down with that.
Was my evil playthrough not horrible?
It was hilarious.
It's because you guys like seeing me suffer.
It absolutely 100%. It was hilarious.
Oh my god. It was
yeah,
so
I don't know.
Bad. So
when
bad.
I play like narrative games like that, I tend to not do what I do in RPGs. Like I don't go full evil. Like I love games in this genre because they remind me of my favorite thing from like forever ago, which was choose your own adventure books.
Oh, I love them.
Me too.
That's what these are. Just they're the modern version of it. So like Life is Strange True Colors was my runner up for Game of the Year when that came out. And so things like that just really, really click well with me. I really like those kind of games a lot. So yeah, it might be time. I think I've forgotten enough of it that I could sit down with that and have a good time. It was a
so good
PlayStation Plus.
Mm-hmm. I think
like
it's
freebie forever. It was part of the PS collection. I think it's still part of the Plus program.
I own it, but I am completely ice cold. I know nothing of the game outside of I think there's robot AI in it. That's all I know.
It's
good.
It's gonna
go into it like that.
That is my level of knowledge.
That's the way to go in.
It's going to be one of those games that's sort of like Life is Strange or like the Dark Pictures kind of games. It's along those same lines, but just extremely better.
Okay.
It's Quantic Dream, so
right.
You already know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
the
choices are like so. I mean, when I tell you, when they zoom out and you see where you could have gone with your choices, you're like, "What?"
I never played the other one, Beyond Two Souls, either.
That was
you did do Heavy Rain though. If I remember
I did
right.
Heavy Rain, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a much more polished that.
Sweet.
I would call
with a lot more choices.
Got to
Indeed.
Yeah.
Right. It's my last pick. I'm sure everyone's going to be super blown away that it's Mass Effect.
What?
Yeah, I like Mass Effect. What I like more is in 2006 when Mass Effect came out, when I had never seen anything like that before in my entire life. Because all I've ever wanted in a game is to be able to do Star Trek. You know, I want to have a ship, I want to have a crew, I want to be able to land on planets, and I want to do like space stuff. That's been my dream forever. It's why I was so excited for Starfield this past year. It's why I like Star Citizen when it's not fucking constantly a broken pile of shit. It's why I like these kind of games, and really still to this day, Mass Effect has been the pinnacle of that. Even though it's not the most advanced, even though it uses a lot of smoke and mirrors to do the trick. Man, on my Xbox 360, when that first Mass Effect game came out, it's another one of those things. I remember exactly where I was. I remember exactly the TV that I played it on. I remember what room I was in. I remember everything about it because it just completely dominated my life. Johnny, fuck, for like more than a year. Because I didn't just play it once and was like, good game. I stopped playing everything else for like more than a year. And like that first game, I think I remember before Mass Effect 2 came out, I did 7 complete playthroughs of the game. All with different classes, all with different choices for like Paragon, Renegade. And I mean, I beat the fucking pants off this game. I have one of the Xboxes that still has the original DLC that you can't get anymore because I still have the same everything from back then. I never got rid of my 360. So I even have content that you literally can't buy. They lost the source code for it. You cannot get it. I'm obsessed with Mass Effect, and it all stemmed back to that first game. And you know, it was cool like when Legendary Edition came out, but when Legendary Edition came out, I sat down, put the difficulty on max, and in one playthrough of all 3 games, 100%ed and got all the trophies for the series in just one shot. Didn't miss a single thing because like it's burned in my brain, every square inch of that. And nothing is more a sore subject for me than BioWare at this point, because of how much Mass Effect and Dragon Age Origins means to me as a player, and like how seminal that was for me.
Yep.
So if I could go back, not only would I play Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 all over again for the first time, I would also somehow get to BioWare and say, hey guys, Anthem, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. Taking Dragon Age 2 and like making it kind of action game, I don't know about that. I don't know. Man, you guys are doing that again with this upcoming Dreadwolf game. Didn't we do that before with Dragon Age 2? Like where we're like, let's do an action game, and then like it was kind of shit, and then you went back to doing the thing you were good at in Inquisition, and then like it won Game of the Year, and then BioWare, you're a hot fucking mess. I wish I could help you, but no one can help you.
Yeah.
Mass Effect would be my final pick. So to recap, I had Chrono Trigger, Resident Evil, and Mass Effect. Johnny, you had
Knights of the Old Republic, the Bioshock franchise, and Final Fantasy VII.
And Kim, you had
Alice Madness Returns, Inscryption, even though I'm not done with it already, and Detroit Become Human.
So everyone listening, definitely check those games out. Diacron, thank you so much for your write-in. That was a fantastic topic.
Really good topic.
To all our other listeners, please make my fucking job easy. Leave us a question. We might use it on the show. We didn't use all the questions we got this week. I'm so sorry. We have a limited amount of time that we can tackle things each week. Some of them might carry over to next week's episode, but we want people to keep writing in. So just keep leaving that thing in our comments if we didn't hit it. That's how you keep it fresh on our mind. So just keep leaving that comment, and eventually we'll get to your inquiry and make a great episode around it. So
Amen.
with that being said, we're all done for the week. That was a fun episode, guys.
Yeah.
Kim, any closing thoughts for us as we depart for the week?
I got a closing thought. Johnny, I'm going to be playing a Metroidvania.
Which one?
I'm going to be playing it on Ko-fi.
Oh, no.
On what? What is it?
So I have a Ko-fi, which is like a separate little thing that you can post videos and people can support me there. It's
Kind of like
Ko-fi.
Patreon.
Yeah,
like
it's
Patreon?
like Patreon. KOFI.com, Mickey Ran. And I'm going to be playing a game called Flip Witch Forbidden Sex Hex. Because I play not safe for work games there, and it's a Metroidvania, and when you die, you're fucked, literally. And there's lots of boobies. Lots of boobies. Yeah, I'll let you know how it is.
Yeah, Johnny, you might want to find $5 to get on Kim's Ko-fi account. Very good, Johnny. Any closing thoughts for us this week as we get ready to depart?
Yeah, I have a closing thought. Guess what I'm doing right now? As soon as we're done this podcast,
What?
I'm gonna fire up my Twitch and start Bramble the Mountain King.
Let's go!
Oh man,
tonight.
All right. Hopefully you stay up late because I got to go do this Black Friday sale thing.
I'm staying up late. Fuck yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my closing thought is I'm about to end this show, get in my car, and take Amy to the comic book store because they're open until 3, and everything in Third Eye Comics is 25% off. Everything.
Nice.
So I'm gonna give her $100 and let her go nuts, and then I'm gonna take everything she bought and say you get it at Christmas time.
And then are you gonna have a battle with yourself to not buy like the $600 Optimus Prime that looks like he's straight out of the cartoon, even though he's 3D, but he like looks.
Oh, I'm good. I got
the cartoon.
I got other things I want. Christmas is right around the corner. I'm good. I'm waiting for tomorrow to see what all the different musical instrument manufacturers put on sale.
Yeah,
because I like unnecessary bases.
Yeah,
I mean, I really like unnecessary bases. Look at them all. Oh my god!
Look at all
those
the
bases.
unnecessary. Look at us all.
They
Meanwhile,
just keep
I'm waiting to see what
multiplying.
makeup goes on sale.
There you go. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back again next week, of course, with another great episode of the Power Gamer Podcast for you to enjoy. Until that time, I'm Mike Dawson.
I'm Johnny Paulus.
I'm Kim Ponticello.
Tune in next time. Take care.
Catch you on the flip flop.